Hello, welcome once again. This is KMB Vids. I'm Ben. This is Mark. Here we're going to talk about some of our favourite video games. So, we all love video games. Where do we start, Mark?
Well, we'll start at the top then. Probably the very first computer I got a Commodore 64 for Christmas. Then when
Old man.
it was very old. The game took forever to load, but you know the first revolution that I remember that I remember sort of coming in and getting was the Super Nintendo. That was the very first computer that I ever got. That was sort of the new era of gaming.
Yeah, I had the NES. I've had the Super Nintendo.
So you were introduced to it a little bit earlier than I was.
Yeah, we had similar sort of games though. But I think that my games were. It's hard to choose a game per your favourite games. I can't do it per generation, but
Right.
got a decent list.
Okay.
A decent
Well,
list.
I mean, I'll start with the iconic game that came out with the SNES when I first got it was the game that was released with it, Street Fighter. Street Fighter 2, yeah. I played that till I had headaches, as we explained in one of the videos before, and I just loved everything about it. You know, you could pick it up and play it quite quickly and have a quick fix, or you could sort of get involved with the story mode. You could do like many different characters, and there was always a completion with every character you played with.
And it was nice having games back then where you actually unlocked things. You didn't have to pay it like nowadays. You have to buy the DLC. You just beat the game and you unlock something new.
Yeah.
So you unlock new characters to play as. That's what I love about those games.
It was what it was, yeah.
They are tough though. I was never very good at Street Fighter.
I was very good at Street
bashing.
I was very good. I put the time in, I put the effort in, and that's probably why I liked it. I just enjoyed playing it.
Well, I think for me, my number 5 would be Pokemon, and it's probably the original. So the blue was the one that I had. You can't beat Pokemon. Again, just hundreds of hours, catching them all again. And as soon as you got them all, oh, they released a new one. We have got to catch more of them. Yeah, Pokemon is definitely my favourite. Don't you give me a little smirky little face.
It was never something that captured my heart.
Let's go play Pokemon Go tomorrow, man.
I played Pokemon Go, yeah, but that was more for the kids and you.
Every single one of them were brilliant, but yeah, I think the original two were there. Going around, there was again first ever proper RPG I ever played, and still in love with it now.
Oh, well, wonderful. Well,
Number
okay.
4, Mark, for you?
My number 4, I'm going to go with probably my least favourite on the list, but it's a game that I very much enjoy playing. It's Resident Evil. Now, I don't have one favourite per se, although I'm playing the new one at the moment in a series on our channel, obviously, and I'm very much enjoying playing that one. If you were to put a gun to my head, I'm probably enjoying playing this one more than I have done the other ones. I don't know why. Couldn't really put my finger on it. I'm just enjoying it.
You're quite into your horror, aren't you? You love your horror films and stuff, so I think that's your...
I do. I don't know why.
Jump scares and...
I don't know why, but yes, I do. I do enjoy that, and it's always been good for that. So yeah, I enjoy sort of the mental challenges involved in it, the puzzles, and obviously being scared and you know the fear of the unknown. There's something about to jump out at you and something chasing you, and it just gets the adrenaline pumping. And you know, I do enjoy those games.
Fair enough. My number 4 would have to be probably Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Again, just
because you love the
iconic
prostitutes.
Place that who doesn't love prostitutes? You pay for them and then you kill them. That's it.
Then you get your money back.
Just like in real life.
Keep your personal life to yourself.
No, but again, Vice City is probably my favourite of the GTA game, just because of that soundtrack. Driving around Vice City, listening to Michael Jackson, listen to that 80s soundtrack is just phenomenal. I've never heard anything like that in a video game, and still haven't heard anything as good as that. But everything on that game was just phenomenal. You know, you go back now and it's not as great to play because graphically it's really, really bad still, and the controls are a bit wonky. But for the time, it was just brilliant.
Fair enough. It's not a game that I've ever played with much gusto, and when I did, I've got a very short attention span, so I just sort of run around the streets and killing people and shooting people.
That's some of the fun of it. That's some of the great things about it, that you can literally just pick it up, play for an hour, and do nothing in it. But I've spent 2-3 hours of your time just murdering, blowing shit up.
Touche. And on that note, we'll move on to my next one, which involves murdering and killing and blowing shit up. Is Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Now, it's a more relevant one. It's my favourite one of the series. Of obviously Call of Duties. They're all much of a muchness, but this one I just really enjoy playing. for the very reason that I haven't got a lot of time all the time, to play games and stuff in my spare time. And whenever I've got 10-15 minutes, half an hour, I can play 1 or 2 games of these online and generally capture the flag. And it just suits everything that I need and want from a computer game. It gets the adrenaline pumping, when you're running around trying to achieve your objectives. Every game's a new game because you're playing against new people and you're trying to get levels up, you're trying to capture flags, you're trying to do whatever it is you're trying to do. And it just gets, it's my fix. It gives me the fix every time I play it.
And I think Black Ops is the best of the Call of Duty ones as well, isn't it? Modern Warfare 4 was great, but
they're a bit
Black
arcadey,
Ops
aren't they?
Yeah, Black Ops is I think the best one. And as you say, you can it's a bit like playing FIFA. So you can just pick it up, game online. You don't have to waste too much time on it.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, my number 3. This is where it gets quite tough to choose because there's a lot of choices there. But again, mine's a bit more modern. It's Mass Effect 2. Out of all of them, Mass Effect 3 was a bit disappointing, but Mass Effect 2 is just phenomenal. Again, another RPG, role-playing game. Trying to interact and just fun going around the Citadel again, meeting new squad mates, doing their side missions, talking to them. You spend hours playing that game doing again stuff that isn't part of the main story, but it's just so much fun and it's a brilliant story. And it's just a shame they kind of cocked the ending up in Mass Effect 3.
Rant over.
So speaking of Mass Effect 2, what is your number 2?
Right, my number 2, I am going to go for probably my favourite on the list, which is Mario Kart the original. Now, there's been a lot of
on the Super Nintendo.
On the Super Nintendo, I did love the Super Nintendo with all my heart.
Or SNES or Super
SNES.
NES, however you'd say it.
Yeah, but again, it was another game I just played a lot. I completed every level with every character and whatever else. And again, you could play it with one character and then drive differently to the next character. And every time you played it, you could make it into a different game. With the characters you could use with the different. Obviously you've got the big heavy ones. It takes time to build their speed up. You've got the all-rounders and all sorts. And I just really enjoyed it. You could pick it up and you could go, and that's the kind of gaming that I enjoy doing.
Yeah, I love Mario Kart games and stuff, but to explain to the kids at home how you turn your console off and you'd lose all your data. It wouldn't save anywhere.
That's old school.
So you have to either leave it on overnight so you can play it the next day and have all those things unlocked, or you've got to replay everything again. But yeah, you can't beat Mario Kart, can you?
You can't. No, it's probably my favourite game ever. That one.
They're still great. Even the new ones are still. They're still great games. They're still you must have when you're.
I don't enjoy the new ones anywhere near as much as I did the
because you
original.
get beaten all the time now, isn't it?
Well, perhaps. I don't enjoy games I'm not good at. Obviously, that goes without saying.
My number 2 would be Metal Gear Solid. It was very tough which one I put as number 1 and number 2. My Metal Gear Solid is my number 2. The original Metal Gear Solid, that was again something I played for hours. Again, you could do things like the boss battles are just phenomenal. They are iconic. They're the best boss battles in all the gaming. Meeting Psycho Mantis and him controlling your controller. And you have to plug your controller from number 1 into number 2, something you can't do anymore nowadays. You don't even have ports for your controller.
Plug it to wireless
But
ports.
just so he couldn't work out what you're doing. They're just a brilliant game. And it was the first game when I realised that video games can actually have stories to them as well. They weren't just about playing a game. They could actually tell you something as well when you're doing it. Just phenomenal. And again, brilliant. I'd never played a game at that stage where the idea was to not kill anyone. The idea wasn't to shoot everyone you see. It was to be stealthy and not be hidden and hiding in a box.
And it's for those exact reasons that I didn't enjoy playing that game. It was it required far too much patience, too long-winded for me, and it just wasn't my cup of tea. But I very much appreciate and understand why you would enjoy it. It was the first of its era in many respects, wasn't it?
So have you got any that didn't quite make your top 5? Have you got any that
Have I got any that didn't make my top 5? I really enjoyed, and it shouldn't be on the list really, and quite rightly it's not on the list, but Super Soccer was one I used to enjoy playing. It was just another Super Bomberman.
Bomberman, yeah.
Again, these are all sort of SNES games, but this was, kind of where I started gaming.
What was the one with the caveman? Was it something Joe?
Caveman Ninjas.
Yeah, or where you had to sort of like climb around with dinosaurs. Again,
Caveman Ninjas.
These crazy games that we used to play back
they
in the
were
day.
just a lot of fun. They were just a lot of fun. We spent a lot of our childhood playing these, and they kind of set the precedence into sort of going on to gaming, where we are now. and doing what we're doing to a certain
Yeah.
extent. So, you know, what ones didn't make your list?
Well, I had Bioshock. That was the first like HD era Xbox 360 game that I ever properly played, and that
You
was,
couldn't see anything though. It was always too dark.
it was very dark. It was very scary and a brilliant story to it. That's why I loved it. But just didn't quite make my list. I've also every other Pokemon game that wasn't on there. I did love them, but I'm also thinking of a silly little game. I'm a big golfer, so Sid Meier's Sim Golf. You got to make your own golf course and on it as well. That was brilliant. Medieval Total War. Love playing that on the PC. Portal 2, brilliant, funny, clever game, but there's just too many games that didn't quite have enough to make my list. There's only one that it could be.
Right.
So number one, who is it for you, Mark?
Well, number one, Mario Kart's my favourite, but this one was very, very close, if not sort of up there. Mario Kart was a game you could just pick up and play and everything, but this one is quite rightly number one in my eyes. And this one probably a few more people will agree with it, as opposed to my other selections. But this one is Silent Hill. You know, they've done a couple of games, but the original one, I remember playing it. It scared me. It was very fun. It was interesting. When I wasn't playing it, I was thinking about playing it and how to do these puzzles and what to do. And you know, I couldn't wait to get back on it.
The Pyramid Head guy.
Yeah. And you know, it was just like I've already touched upon. I don't like long-winded games really, apart from sort of the Resident Evil ones or the Silent Hill one. And Resident Evil made it into my top 5, but Silent Hill I've enjoyed playing more, and that's why it's sort of worthy of being my number one.
Fair enough. Well, for me, my one is an early game, very early game. One of my first games I ever owned, and it's still as good now as it has ever been. And Nintendo still haven't bettered it in my eyes, and that is Super Mario Bros. 3. Just the ultimate Mario game. You watch it, you get the Tanuki suit. You can fly. I mean, the NES couldn't even do those sort of things in the other games. They literally had to build a chip into the cartridge just so the console could physically play the game. It's phenomenal. It's got the best levels. It's got the best power-ups. It's just brilliant. And Nintendo's still trying to copy it now. I mean, you look at some of the more recent ones. They're bringing back the Tanuki suit. They're bringing back those things. They're bringing back the boot. That one level where you get to jump in the boot and climb across the piranha plants. It's just brilliance, utter brilliance, and it's why it's my favourite game. And it doesn't hurt that it's early on NES where it was just pure brilliant gameplay.
Yeah. I mean, it was what it was, wasn't it? It was just a straightforward platform game. There was no 3 dimensions. You went from one end of the map to the other. That was your clear objective. It was very simple and easy to play, but you also had the level progressions and other stuff, and it also had a storyline as well. So it was just a lot of fun, wasn't it?
It was a lot of fun. And there's some of our favourite games. So in the comments below, put some of what your favourite games are. We will probably go and play some of these games on the channel just so we can revisit some good old memories and
Definitely.
Have some fun with that. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.